of conversation with the board. There were sample policies before we even had a potential of a vote. We had a lot of information fact gathering. I remember when I was in another administrative position, the previous superintendent had even started laying the groundwork and having meetings with Partners in Prevention, coalition members, just interested community members, just to get information out. I think it's always a good protocol to share information before you bring something in for a vote. So that was the initial stages, and then even at board meetings, coalition community members would speak. And I think some of the most powerful testimony before the board ever had a vote, it was testimony from community members, from interested coalition members, folks like that really made the difference.
Okay, preparation has been coming for a long time. Our Lake Cumberland District Health Department and Health Education Department here at our local health department here, we've been working with education, of course, encouraging our restaurants, our businesses to go tobacco-free. And as that happens, of course, then your community becomes a norm for your community. People just think that is the way it is, and so they get used to that. We go into the schools, the Health Education Department goes into the schools, and we do programs with elementary, of course, middle school and high school on that. So we've prepared, we've really prepared in a large way the community. And then when we introduced the tobacco-free schools, 24/7 tobacco-free schools, the community was ready, and we felt like they were ready.
Well, I've been in my line of work as a community leader and a banker for longer than I want to even say. So a lot of people look at me differently than the way I wanted them to perceive me that night. So when I stood up to speak to them, I asked them to forget what they knew about me and to remember me as this person. And that was why I was there, a grandmother, and I wanted to speak on behalf of all the children in the community.
The tobacco-free school policy was important to me because I've been in healthcare for 18 years, and I teach tobacco cessation here at the hospital, and I'm also a former smoker who has been quit for 14 years, and I think the tobacco-free policy was a great thing because not only does it create a more positive role model for our youth, it creates a healthier environment for them too at school and school functions.
And the awareness. I mean, if you do not know that you have a problem in your community, then, nobody's going to do anything about it, and nobody's going to be passionate about it. And that was one of the big things about our coalition, and also too with the public health department here, is that we are very passionate. And one of the big things here at the health department was before school policy was passed at Russell County school system, we here at Lake Cumberland District Health Department, we passed a grounds-free, tobacco-free policy, and so we led as an example, and so that was something that was very instrumental for that.
Well, obviously the large sign you see when you come onto campus, it is there. But then when we have different sporting events, we have an announcement that goes across to let parents, other fans know that this is a smoke-free campus.
Well, we contacted both of our local radio stations, and they do a really good job of publishing it for us. Also, the local paper has things that they run for us. We do different types of social media to advertise it along with our district website. And also at each home game, we have announcements made throughout the game reminding them of it being a tobacco-free campus.
I take a lot of phone calls, get a lot of emails, text messages too. I've not had anybody call and complain about that. I think it's hard to complain when you're trying to set a good example for kids. And I think it's important to note again that we're not trying to take something away from adults. Adults can make those decisions for themselves. But this is really an example, a learning tool for kids. And it also gives, I remember high school administration, they would have to fight that battle with students that said, well, you all can use tobacco. You know, even if an 18-year-old at school, they would have if caught with tobacco. This gives a little bit more ammunition, a tool in the toolbox, if you will, to say, you know, it's not allowed for anybody. This is the example that we set for everybody. And so that's, I've not dealt with that. I may have had a few eye glares when I've asked someone to put out a cigarette or do something like that, but I've not fielded any phone calls, any emails of someone that's against this policy.
Definitely. Actually, I've gone back and looked at our disciplinary reports, and we have had we're down 20 incidents, write-ups from previous 2 years. So we have actually seen a major reduction in our tobacco use here on campus.
The board took action and the policy was passed. I think it helped. It helped as a selling point that there was going to be an educational year, that we were going to let community know, we were going to let our staff know. You know, obviously with the district our size, with the number of employees we have employees that use tobacco. And again, we weren't trying to take that from them, but we asked for people to respect the district's policies. So that gave us a year, and I think that was pivotal. I think that's important. I know some school districts, they can jump right into it, and that's great, it worked for them. This worked for us. And so that gave everybody a year to, if they wanted to enter into a cessation program, make the adjustments to their lifestyle, whatever. But it also, I think even greater than that, it gave us a year to educate the community. Hey, respect us, respect our policy when you come to our basketball games. Please don't go outside and use tobacco. And so that really helped as well. And we continue those efforts. It's still, let's not be naive, it's still a battle that you face, that you have to ask people. And I find out that's what probably does the most, to just ask people, hey, we're a tobacco-free campus. Please respect that. And people ultimately do. They do.
That was a major concern for them when we went smoke-free, because they smoked their whole life. And but then we celebrated that. Every time I went by, I'd celebrate, hey, are we still doing okay? I'm glad, hey, are we still going strong? If you not had one yet, or yeah, I had one, we had a relapse, but then all right, let's pick it back up. That was where I was pretty much involved in that. You know, if I heard a teacher was trying to quit or a staff member was trying to quit, I'd try to encourage them, give them some positive encouragement, because I understood the struggle they were going through.
I do want to add, you know, we did have a staff member that I worked very closely with. He was like very reluctant. He didn't, you know, nobody should tell him if he could or could not use tobacco. And he kind of got it, that, you know, maybe not in front of the kids, but if he wanted to go, you know, in a private place and use tobacco, he felt like he should be able to do that. Well, it's probably been about 6 months now, 6 or 7 months, you know, he quit using tobacco. And I have to say that I truly believe, had we not went tobacco free, he wouldn't have even started thinking about it. It got him thinking about it. And so he's quit using tobacco. It's been about 6 or 7 months now. So I think that's a success story in itself, you know, that we got him thinking about it and he quit. So yeah, it's all been good.
This is a continuous process. The Russell County school system, as far as their policy is concerned, we want to continue to make that policy better. And so we're going to do a review of that policy periodically, and we're going to make sure that that policy is strong and that it fits changing times. And so we want to make sure that we're going to include the e-cigarettes. That was something that we didn't include at the beginning, and so the process never ends. We continue to educate, and we're going to continue to make that policy stronger, and for the health of not only our students but the staff at Russell County High School, and also to just the community in general. So we're very, very proud of our school. We're very proud of our superintendent for being so supportive of this policy, and our board members, of course, and then just the community in general.
I know, and again, this came from Community Coalition Partners. We're going to look at e-cigarettes. The vapor and all those things like that, that's still an issue that we deal with students. Obviously, that's prohibited for students, but we want to make that policy encompass that. And really, there's some wiggle room in our policy where someone, an employee, for example, or a community member, could argue with me that that's not prohibited. So we're going to solidify that in our policy. I think going forward, our advice for other school districts is involve students, community support, coalition members, all those people can make it. They can sell it for you. Sometimes it's difficult for a superintendent to say, I want this, or this is what's best for a district. But when you have the total support of the community, it makes good things happen for kids.
I can't commend Superintendent Ford and the board, their school board, enough for this, because passing a tobacco-free policy is difficult in any facility, especially in Kentucky, where tobacco farming, has been a part of the community as it has in Russell County. So they've implemented that. They didn't just vote, and they've implemented that, and they've done that with the help of parents. And if there's been opposition to this, I have not heard that. So, kudos to everyone involved here.
I'm just thankful that I actually lived to see this happen, because it's something that I've thought about all my life, as an adult. And I'm just thankful that the board stood up to the plate and made that step to make our community healthier and to set an example for our children, who are the future of our county and our community.